But I can say you one thing, that people will think that this is a much lighter bike, but I'll say that this is the lightest bike that Royal Enfield has ever produced. But it's not the lightest. Alright, yeah, by the way, I've now got a mileage of 33 km per liter. What's up YouTube, how's it going? So today we have the Royal Enfield Hunter 350 with me, and after a week usage, here I am with the review. So in this channel I didn't put any first rider impression, but I've asked you what all doubts you have in the community tab, and I got a few questions. So based on that, this review will be going on. So got a solid chance to experience this motorcycle. So let's see whether this is worth a motorcycle going for your purpose. Definitely for the price point, I believe that everyone will be telling that this one is like a steal deal. But let's see, even if we are getting something for free, ask yourself whether does the product actually fits your usage. Let's look at that. So first of all, let's look at the styling. This has a huge resemblance to the Triumph Street Twin, and by the way, I have to say that Royal Enfield has just nailed in the styling, because you look at the design, I mean, you park it anywhere, or if you are on the road, definitely this motorcycle will catch eyes. Starting from the front section itself, we have the alloy wheels, and that light, everything looks damn premium. This is something which we have never seen from a Royal Enfield. I'm not talking about the premiumness, but I'm talking about that stylish factor. So yes, and coming on to this side, we are much familiar with this paint scheme from the Scram 411 itself, but there are unique paint schemes for the Hunter 350. And coming on to this side, we have Hunter 350 written over there, and a very nice seat over here, and we have an exhaust over here which looks like a chopped off version of a longer exhaust, which actually gives a really nice sound. And to the tail section, that's where I really love this motorcycle, because the tail and this angle just look like a very big bike. So by the way, this motorcycle comes with three variants: a base variant, a mid variant, and a top end variant. So this one is the top end variant, the Metro variant, which comes with alloy wheel in the front and few other updates as well. For example, the alloys which is used over here is different, and we get a different stylish grab rail, and seat cover, I think it is standard. The Metro variant actually looks much stylish than the Retro variant, because the Retro variant comes with spokes. If you like spokes, yeah, I'm sure that you will be liking that one, but in my personal opinion, this one looks just fantastic. Now let's analyze each and everything. So from the front, we get a normal halogen headlight, which is actually very purposeful. I've been riding in the night for a couple of days, and I'm pretty happy with the low and the high beam. And we get normal indicators, I mean non-LED halogen lights. That also looks good. And the suspension travel is kind of okay. The braking is also average feel. The feedback from the tire is a little less, but I think that's personal. You can go and upgrade to something else if you are buying this motorcycle. And there is the same engine that we have seen with Classic and the Meteor and all, but it's a bit different from what we have seen in those motorcycles. And you know, the exhaust sound is different. It feels much peppier, so you'll try to push the motorcycle a little bit. So when I hop on the motorcycle, actually this is not a tall motorcycle at all. You see that the seat height is comfortable, and the premiumness of the motorcycle, you can see that all over here. There is a very nice paint scheme. It really looks good, and there is a slightly offset console over here, and we have a slightly roadster feel handlebar, not a complete roadster, but a slightly roadster kind of a feel. Switch bars on this one is the same that we have seen with the new Meteor and the Classic. So here we have the high beam and the low beam pass switch, indicator and the horn, and on this side we have an integrated kill switch and an ignition, and we have caution lamp. That's all. And let's turn on the dial. Actually, the dial packs in a little less information. What you see is the speedometer. There is no tachometer, the fuel level indicator, 2 trip meters, 1 odometer, and the gearbox indicator and time. And it is showing trip F now. That means it has started giving me low fuel warning. That's why. And the bike is actually much agile. It feels much lighter. But I can say you one thing, that people will think that this is a much lighter bike, but I'll say that this is the lightest bike that Royal Enfield has ever produced. But it's not the lightest among everything, especially if you're comparing the price point. This is not the lightest at all, but for the price, definitely this is worth going for it. But we'll talk about that in some time. So without wasting time, let's go for a ride. Before we start a ride, actually I'll turn on the motorcycle and I'll make you hear the exhaust sound. So this sounds much similar to the CB350 RS from Honda, but this thing is more sweeter. It has more feel and a little bit of character, because you can feel the piston movements. It has got that thump. By the way, a few people has already asked me that is there any ground clearance problem for this motorcycle. So honestly, until now I didn't face any kind of ground clearance issues, because this motorcycle has a ground clearance of 150 mm, I'm actually a little more cautious when it comes to speed breakers and all, because I ride a lot of fast bikes, sports bikes, so definitely those bikes has lesser ground clearance, and I'm actually tuned for that setup. But this one didn't had any problem. First thing, 150 is not a bad clearance at all. Second thing, the suspension on the motorcycle is a little on the stiffer side, so when you sit on the motorcycle or when you go over the humps and all, there is no action coming in. That means you're not compromising on your ground clearance. The 150 is still there even when you load your complete weight. So in that way, I'll say that there is no ground clearance issues. And when it comes to the city usage and all, taking a U-turn is much simpler compared to all other Enfields, because I've seen lean people struggling on Classic and Meteor and all, but this thing is not like that. Because of this a little tighter suspension, I hope you can feel it in my voice itself, because my voice will be having some amount of break because the road is actually reflecting over my hand. Yeah, we are back on good roads now. Hope my voice is clear. So yes, I was talking about the suspension and the handling. So handling is extremely nice. You can ride it like a 150cc motorcycle. This is by far the best motorcycle from Royal Enfield in terms of agility. And coming on to the heating and all, I never faced any heating until now. Almost crossed 350 or 400 kilometer by now. Until now, be in the cities or on the off-roads or on the highways, I didn't face any heating issues. And if I had to talk about the engine has a little bit of character, in the sense, I've already told this has a much resemblance to the Honda CB350 RS, but you know what it lacks on a Honda is the vibration and the feel that you get out of the engine. Honda is super stable. I love that motorcycle for that reason, but it is heavily overpriced. But when it comes to the Enfield, you get that old bullet feel. You see that? You get that piston movements and balls, and that's something really nice. I really love it. So if you ask me how it powers, it is actually really torquey. You see that? It is really torquey, and we'll get to the feel that the motorcycle is powering you up, and you'll get that feel that the motorcycle is pushing you up, and the motorcycle is actually tuned for the lower revs and mid RPMs. So if you have seen the top speed video of this motorcycle, which I've already published few days ago, you can really see that, because the motorcycle actually picks in the first 3 gears and it almost touches the 100 km/h mark pretty quickly. And believe me, this kind of a motorcycle doing 100 in the third gear itself, third gear red line, you're getting the 100 km/h. And after that, it takes much of a time to reach 120 in the fourth gear to red line. And at times you get a red line on the fourth gear, otherwise you won't. So I found out that the fourth gear actually red lines at 125, which you won't get all the time. You should have a slant or some wind pushing you from the back and all, then only you'll be getting 125 to redline the fourth gear. And the fifth gear is completely sedated. That is actually for cruising. So in a way it is good. I mean, the fifth gear gives you comfort on the highway. So that's the power band of the motorcycle. So it gives you a lot of initial, and which is actually tuned for the city use. So just imagine you're just roaming around in the city from 40 to 80 or 40 to 60. You have ample juice, be on the third gear, and actually you can put yourself on top of the line. It's more peppier. It feels like you are riding a much smaller agile motorcycle. And when it comes to the braking, again, this is very much tuned for the city, because until 80 km/h, I'll say that I can just use the front brake and completely trust on the feedback from that. And but post that, what I'll say is that you might have to use the rear brake for some time. I think I have to fuel up because it is showing low fuel now. So yeah, I was talking about the braking. So this brake is much comfortable for city use, but when it comes to the highway, especially when you're on that 120 kmph cruising and all, then I feel that the braking is a little slow. You might feel like there should be some more bite from the brake, but otherwise the brake feel is average. That's what I'll say. 500. Alright. Yeah, by the way, I've now got a mileage of 33 km/L, considering the fact that I've done a lot of speed runs on this motorcycle, city rides as well as highway. So that means this is an average, really good mileage for this. Yeah, as I mentioned, this motorcycle is not that heavy. So if you're someone who's tall, don't worry about this motorcycle, because you have a little sporty riding stance. So you have ample amount of leg space. You see that you won't look odd on this motorcycle, but certainly you have to go for a test ride and experience yourself. So if you ask me if there is any wind blast, then I'll say that to some extent, till a speed of 80 km/h, it's much comfortable, not a problem. Even to 100 km, there's not much problem. Post that, yes, you might feel like you need a taller windscreen, otherwise not at all an issue. And now let's look at the pricing, which Royal Enfield has nailed it. and they are actually encroaching into many other smaller capacity motorcycles. This motorcycle is coming for 1.5 lakhs X showroom. The retro variant actually comes for 1.5 X showroom, which means 1.7 lakhs on road. 1.7 lakhs on road means it is actually competing with some of the 150cc and 200cc motorcycle. In that way, I'll say that this is definitely a value for money machine, because you won't get this kind of an equipment in this price range. Base variant costs 1.7 around, and mid variant will cost something like 1.8 lakh, and this top end variant is 2 lakh 7,000. So definitely value for money machine. I've observed one thing on this motorcycle, that on the bottom part of the motorcycle, a part of chassis has been modified, so there is no covering across the engine. You can see that the engine has actually mounted in between a gap of the chassis. So what I feel is that because of that, the motorcycle has some amount of vibration. When you're riding in 60 to 80, that's not at all a problem, but you have that vibration because this motorcycle is giving you that punch and all. So as I mentioned, you can really feel the engine which is running there down. So there is a little bit of vibration on the foot peg and some on the handbar that you can see on the mirrors, and there is some amount of vibration on the seat. If you are on full throttle like 100 or 120 all day long, then probably after 1 or 2 hours you will start feeling sore, but not a big issue. If you are at the speed of 80 km, that's not a problem. Now let's talk about the mileage. As per Royal Enfield, we'll be getting a mileage of 36 km per litre. I already got a 33 km per litre in mixed condition. This motorcycle hasn't even done the full service, so you'll definitely be able to get something above 35 km per litre. That's what I believe. And when I was talking to the Royal Enfield guys over here, and they were telling that the servicing of the motorcycle is also much affordable compared to the other motorcycles from Royal Enfield. So this one goes for servos once in 5,000 kilometers, and a free service will cost you 1,200 rupees, and a paid service will cost something like 1,500 to 1,600, which is again pocket friendly considering the fact that this is a bigger engine. So there as well, it's a budget friendly motorcycle, not just to own but to maintain as well. So let's see whether this motorcycle will fit on your requirement. First of all, if you are looking for a good motorcycle for your city use, where you want a much agile motorcycle, you want to travel with a pillion and all, then a great motorcycle. Because of 3 things. 1, this is much agile. Second thing, this looks fantastic and it sounds phenomenal. I have no other words. So you have all the crowd attention. If you're an introvert, I'm warning you, be prepared to hear some questions from the signal and all, because everyone knows about this motorcycle by now. This has a lot of road presence, so definitely they'll get to know that it's a new motorcycle and they'll come to you and ask you questions. So just prepare for that. This is only for the introverts. Extroverts, feel happy for that. Okay, and when it comes to the highway, if you're planning to cruise at a speed of 80 km per hour, no problem, you can have a wonderful tourer. Definitely I'll make a different touring review considering all the facts. As a tourer, you can go and watch that video, but what I'll say is that it's a decent tourer in my books. And when it comes to off-road, this is not really a great motorcycle for off-roading. One thing, the suspension is actually tuned to a stiffer side. That means you'll have a lot of pressure in handling the motorcycle. Second thing, as I mentioned, the engine is actually vibrating a little bit. So altogether, the suspension and the engine feel, everything will give you tiredness. So it's not a great motorcycle for off-roading, but certainly better than many sports motorcycles that is available in this price range. I don't really want to mix match everything, but I'm just putting it out, that's all. Because some people will be having a thought in their mind that, okay, I'm having this under 2 lakh budget and I want to go for one motorcycle, whether I go for a 150cc or a tourer or a sports tourer, off-roading motorcycle, or this one. So that's what I'm telling. This won't be definitely as good as a Royal Enfield Himalayan or a Scrambler, but definitely if you are hitting a bad patch of road, you'll be able to cross that, no doubt about it. And when it comes to cornering, I really don't think this is a great motorcycle for that, because of one main reason, that the tires are not that great. The stock tires are not that great, so the confidence, the feedback from the tire is not that great. Probably that might be the same reason for the feedback from the brake as well. So I was trying to do some small corners as well, and the bike is not cooperating with me that much. So it's not a great bike for cornering enthusiasts. So let me know if you have any more doubts on this motorcycle. I hope I have covered all the points that you've asked in my community tab post. So yeah, that's my personal feel after riding this motorcycle for almost a week long. And if you have liked this video, it'll be great you can give a thumbs up to the video, because I've put some amount of effort in bringing this review. I wouldn't really say that you go and subscribe and all, because there is no point in subscribing to a channel where someone uploads a different motorcycle video every week after that. So definitely, if this video has helped you out, show some love in the form of likes and comments. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye. That's a hunting feel. Oh yeah.